So I'm going to call the meeting to order. And first is Scott, Traffic Operations.
Yep, the group from CTD, Traffic Operations, is here for presentation to the board on their services.
All right, my court. We'll take the mic so everyone can hear me.
That's fine. I'm going to just queue up your presentation here, and I'm going to give you a clicker.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Can you guys see the screen all right or not really? Not really? Okay. I'll do my best still to convey it, and we'll pass out the presentation afterwards, virtually. Let me know when we're ready. Well, I'll just start off with my spiel. So I'm Greg Palmer, DOT Traffic Operations, and I've been tasked with going to each of the COGs throughout the state and kind of indicating what our unit does, because the purpose of our unit is to support LTAs for municipalities. We're a non-project group, and we're here for reviews along the state highway system. So an LTA wants us to review an intersection that is currently unsignalized. We think there should be a signal there. We're the group that does that kind of review. And around 2019, we went through a reorganization in traffic engineering, and we came out with this idea for a mailbox. Oh, LTA, if you have a request, we've moved people around. Just send your inquiry to this mailbox. And it became really impersonal. You know, I spent my first 12 years covering the District 1 area in particular, and I was on the phone with LTAs day to day from each municipality in my area. Maybe not each one every day, but on the phone with people, talking, building those relationships. And with the mailbox, we kind of lost that personal touch. So we're trying to get our names and faces out there again with the towns that we cover and build those relationships again. So that's really the purpose why we're here. And now, any better seeing this or not still?
And I just want to double check for the folks at home, are you able to see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
That's good.
You're good to go.
Okay, well, I'll do my best to convey what's on the slides here, and afterwards I'll send it to whoever to then pass out the presentation, because really the main point, like I've brought up, is we're here for names and faces, but we're also here to provide contact information. Let's say you just have a question or an inquiry where you think you want to ask for something, but you're not sure who to talk to. We want to get, again, the contact info directly to the LTAs or other municipal officials so they can just pick up the phone and call us or shoot us an email. So the presentation does have that information on here. So traffic engineering is split into 4 units. What's on the top left of that slide is traffic project design. So think of your major highway projects, your major bridge projects, facilities. Those are huge projects in our capital plan. That unit in the top left is what supports those projects. They also are prime designers for their own projects for sign supports along the interstate and such. The top right is the group that was created as part of the reorganization in 2019. It's our traffic signals unit. We've always had signals, but previously they were covered by different districts and such, and it was split up throughout the state. Now we have a specific signals unit that does the projects for replacing or revising signals on a larger scale basis. It also has our traffic electrical team, our traffic signal lab, and our asset management group. And the top or bottom right is the traffic safety unit. I like to explain them as being the proactive group, whereas our unit is the reactive group. They are using proven safety countermeasures from FHWA and rolling them out statewide as quickly as they can to try to get ahead of issues. Whereas our group is here taking inquiries or issues that the public has brought to our attention, and through non-projects is trying to get those implemented. They also are holders of the Strategic Highway Safety Plan, and they also do our Highway Safety Improvement Program. And then the last bottom left is the Traffic Operations Unit. Again, we are non-projects. We're here to support LTAs when they have issues along the state highway system, and we also have a couple other areas where we support maintenance and OSTA, which you'll see later on. There we go, thanks. So this just lists a bunch of our responsibilities in our unit. So I mentioned, we're here to support the LTAs in the towns, but we also support other units. So on the bottom, I believe, we support policy and planning. One of the things that we do for the Bureau of Policy and Planning is corridor studies. We are the technical support on the review of corridor studies, which is very applicable to the COGs and the towns. We also, our technical support on the review of different kinds of grants. So we're not super familiar with what's allowed or not allowed in grants, but when it impacts a state highway and it has transportation items, we are a group that helps support those reviews. We also review for maintenance, encroachment permits that impact state highways and signals. We also support them for the maintenance resurfacing program, summer paving projects. We review all of those corridors and look for improvements. And then the last one, which is probably towards the top here, is OSTA, Office of the State Traffic Administration. So we support them in review of major traffic generators. Think a large Walmart, a big warehouse. We do technical reviews for them. And we also do reviews of municipal signals on state highways. So this is our coverage map for the whole state. Again, when you get the presentation later, it'll be easier to see. But that's just how we're split up in our senior engineers that cover different parts of the state. And more importantly, here is, RiverCOG, and here is how we're split up. So today with me, I brought some of the engineers that directly cover these towns. And in the top left in yellow is the District 1 towns that are covered by Christie, who's here. And then in the bottom right, the pink towns are the District 2 coverage, which are covered by Claudette. You raise your hand, Claudette. So again, we're here, names and faces, trying to, and on the next slide here, you're going to see that there's where all the contact information is. It has our emails, phone numbers, who to talk to for each town, and you can always, if you can't get a hold of somebody, feel free to reach out to someone else on this list, and we'll try to take care of you, get you answers, get moving on reviews, anything you really need, status check or questions before you submit something. And this is a page that has information on typical requests we get from LTAs. Earlier I mentioned you have an intersection currently unsignalized, you think a signal should be there, that's a typical one. It could be an existing signal, you think it needs new timings, new phasing, whatever it is, we're the group. As long as it's owned and maintained by the state, we review those. Having trouble seeing the rest on there, but we also review non-intersections, so segments in between for signs and pavement markings. If it's a signal, a sign, or a pavement marking, generally talking to us in traffic engineering when it's not project related is the way to go for LTAs. And then some of the other things I mentioned is how we support OSTA and how we support maintenance and encroachment permits and such are also listed on here for our responsibilities. One thing I did want to note is a lot of towns tend to get us confused with some of the responsibilities through OSTA, that's the Office of the State Traffic Administration, through truck prohibitions, or passing zones, speed limits, those are all through that office instead of us. You're always welcome to talk to us, but we're gonna pivot and defer you to those offices then. This is the MUTCD, so I like to think of this as the traffic engineer's Bible. So anything that we review on behalf of municipalities, we are checking this manual to make sure it's in conformance. Sometimes we say no because it's not in conformance. So we're usually not winging it and making stuff up and trying to annoy people. We're following the rules from the federal government, and so I just wanted to bring that manual to everyone's attention. Okay, then that's just more information on major traffic generators and encroachment permits. Yeah, so that just, for LTA references, it just kind of goes over what these are. Encroachment permits are third-party work on the state highway system, so proposed by the town, proposed by private developers. Again, we're the technical review for maintenance, and then MTGs are greater than 100,000 square feet or more, or 200 parking spaces or more. Qualify automatically as an MTG, have to get certified through OSTA. We support them through technical review. And this is regarding our maintenance resurfacing program. Earlier when I introduced Christy and Claudel, Kevin's here also, and so he covers the District 2 and the District 4 area, so it's like just over 100 towns in the state. But he also is a subject matter expert for our maintenance resurfacing program throughout the entire state. So the TE3s cover specific towns only. The TSEs are subject matter experts on certain things, but also are the day-to-day for certain towns and districts as well. So this is the program that he covers directly, but this is this resurfacing is it's like a free project, right? They're not an official state project, but it's summer resurfacing that happens all the time, and my understanding is most roadways are like on a 15 to 20 year cycle for these. But when you put in new pavement, you need new pavement marking. So you kind of have the ability to put in whatever you want afterwards. So we try to take advantage and look for opportunities, whether that's a road diet, buffered shoulders, you know, we do try to take a fresh look at those. And then at the end here, I just have a couple quick plugs of things you may see across the state. I mentioned road diets. This is information on road diets in general. We're always looking for opportunities for these. 4 lanes down to 3, trying to get the area for left turns, trying to minimize the, you know, where you have left turns without left turn lanes, because you tend to get rear end crashes. You get that, we call it a dual threat situation, where one person stops, the other one doesn't. So we're looking for these mostly under those resurfacing projects. This is the buffered shoulders I mentioned under the same program. We're looking to do 11-foot through lanes, you know, which provides wider shoulders, but sometimes you get too wide of shoulders. So this is a way where you can eat up space without making the lane itself wider, which promotes faster driving. So we're trying to not promote faster driving by keeping the lanes at 11 feet. And the last one I have here is a quick plug for the Quick Build Directive. It came out 2 years ago, and it's a way for municipalities to pursue temporary work on state highways. With the idea being, like, why spend a lot of money on a huge streetscape project that you're not sure is gonna be successful when you could do a temporary demonstration to test it out first? And then, if it works well, you can then follow up with the $1 million streetscape project afterward. So this came out 2 years ago. We've only seen a few applications so far. So I just kind of wanted to bring attention to this. There's a link at the top that people can click on and reference when they have this. And again, this is one example. This is flexible post delineators to kind of do bump outs at an intersection. I think it's signalized in this one down in Bridgeport. So that's one example, but there's multiple different kinds. And again, that was just a quick plug to try to get the word out there. And really, that's the end of the presentation.
I'm sorry, we didn't get your name.
Oh, Greg Palmer, sorry.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Okay, Mike,
So I just have a comment, actually. Greg, I'm meeting with you in about 3 weeks or so for Portland. And I met with these guys a couple months ago about doing a road diet in Portland on our main street and the whole bit. So we're in the process of doing that. It's been a good experience so far. Looking forward to meeting with you guys. But it's been very helpful for me trying to figure out what to do with the downtown as we're expanding and growing and the whole bit. So you guys have been very helpful. And we'll meet with some postal folks right before you to talk about the speed cameras and stuff. So why not do it all at once, right? What can go on?
Yeah, no, that'll be good. I just see you're going to meet with those two right beforehand regarding the speed cameras and such. And yeah, that Route 17A downtown Portland there is, in my opinion, a prime candidate for a road diet. And we don't currently have it scheduled for a resurfacing to my knowledge, and we'll have more info for you at the meeting. But I think that would be huge for that area.
So, thanks for resurfacing Main Street Old Saybrook. Looks great. I have a comment also that, I mean, I've only had really positive experiences. Claudella, I think, and I had a conversation recently on a LOTSIP grant. I think we spoke. Pretty sure we were on a Zoom call. You probably have so many you don't remember. But it was really good. So I just recently we just had our road paved and we're missing some line striping. I asked for some new signs. And they got right back to me. They already sent somebody out there. They came back with the recommendation, and that was within 3 days. So I did not expect that quick a turnaround. So very positive. I think the group is really getting back to people and doing really good work. I have no complaints. And you know, on our causeway across, going from Saybrook Point to Fenwick, A couple years ago, people were fishing all over the causeway, preventing people from walking. You guys came out and you put a stripe right through it, road fishing area on one side. We recommended it. You guys implemented it. You're still doing it. I mean, it's really helped, you know. So great to work with. I'm sure we have so many state roads in all our towns that I'm sure a lot of us have interactions with you, and I hope, you know, you guys are very approachable and get right on it from my experience.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that. And, you know, I don't know if we can quite take credit for all of it, because if Claude doesn't know about it, then that might have been District 2 maintenance, so he might have worked with the traffic engineer, Rick Chapman, over there,
Yeah,
who's also great to work with, and
Yeah.
he's also another contact for towns.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take credit from him if he was the one that did it, but, you know.
The camera wasn't on.
Yeah, the whole point of this, yeah, so we're trying to be as accommodating and to be responsive, and to hear that people are already doing a good job, I'm super happy to hear that. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks. Really
Appreciate it.
All right, take care, everyone. And
Thank you.
again, we'll pass out that the digital file of that presentation. We'll make sure everyone has those names and numbers, and we'll get it out to everyone.
Yeah, we had it.
That directive, could you just talk a little bit more about that? So
Yeah.
we have a whole area that we're working on called Route 1 East from Mystic Market to the I-95 North on-ramp. So it's a stretch, we're calling it Mariner's Way. We're doing a lot of civil work right now, kind of just trying to see what we can do. But I think that's super interesting to see. Maybe we can try something and see how it works.
Yeah.
While they're designing, and maybe try a few things. Could you explain more if we wanted to try something?
Yeah, so I'm not super familiar with the location
Yeah.
and such, so I'm not sure, but like the one example I had there, I think the microphone holding that makes me more nervous. I feel more comfortable just talking like this. But you know, when you have an intersection and a roadway that's wider than it needs to be, and let's say you want on-street parking, but it's kind of a madhouse right now, when you can implement a bump out or a streetscape at some point to narrow the roadway, keep people away from parking near intersections, so you can improve that visibility between pedestrians and motorists, that's a huge win in my opinion. But the issue becomes with the streetscape is you're spending big money to move curbs and to do drainage and do all these things where, you know, with the flexible post delineators, and you just have temporary markings, temporary delineators that kind of mark off an area and get the same effect without having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's one iteration. Another one that we reviewed in Canton was for speed reduction markings. You may have seen these before, but they start off with these little skip lines within the inside of the edge lines. So they use some temporary paint, and you start off with them at one location, and they're spaced longer away from each other. But as you get approaching a curve or a vertical curve, they become closer and closer spaced, in which case it gives you the illusion of traveling faster, so you tend to react and slow down. They're approved by the MUTCD, but that was just another iteration of a quick build. That one, just markings, is really, you know, it's pretty easy to implement. It's permanent afterwards. Some of the other examples over here, those, like, you could do a quick build road diet. That one's a bit tougher. The only one I've done is we milled the roadway, then put down the road diet, and before we made the final call on whether it should move forward or not. What I've heard more likely though is like you can eradicate pavement markings and then stripe them as a road diet before you mill the roadway and then resurface it. So there's different iterations of it. Wayfinding signage, I guess, street furniture, curb extensions, road diet, pedestrian crossings, protected bike lanes. So there's different mechanisms of what, you know, we're looking for as far as allowable projects, and it really depends on what your overall goal is. So for your location, if you have an overall goal where you're trying to reduce the number of lanes or reduce the amount of pavement to provide a more pedestrian-friendly, wider area for benches,
exactly
for
what we're trying to do.
streetscape elements, then I think with the example that I had there might be the perfect candidate. And just keep in mind for the quick build demonstration, when you have those flexible post delineators, they are only allowed during certain time frames, May 1st to the end of October, because when plowing operations begin, we really need to be able to, you know, not create a mess with the roadway. So there's a limited time frame that the town does take over responsibility for removing them and such when they get approved for it. So it's through the encroachment permit process. We have a quick build review team at DOT, and we've been told basically to, you know, really keep these things moving. We're trying to do quick approvals on those because they're temporary conditions and the season's short. So I hope that helps with a little bit more information, but
Good.
yeah.
Anyone else? Yep.
Yes, sir, I have a question. Are you responsible for road signs, like speed limit signs as well?
So the speed limit signs are usually the Office of State Traffic Administration, so they do the review and approvals for changing posted speed limits. But as far as if there was a sign missing where it used to be, we're a good contact for that. We'll contact maintenance and get them out there to reinstall it. If you want it installed somewhere else, we can work with those to maintenance to relocate it somewhere else with a service memo. But so yes and no, I guess is my answer. It depends on what your specific ask is for the speed limits.
Okay, I'll tell you what it is. I'm from East Haddam.
Okay.
We're a big believer in electronic speed limit signs. It tells people their speed.
Yeah.
And can we combine an electronic speed limit sign and it's one monitoring sign, tells you what the speed you're going. Combine that with a genuine DOT speed limit sign on the same post.
On the same post. So the Your Speed feedback signs are a good program. I know the T2 Center provided them to a lot of towns in previous years, and they have found that, you know, people do react to them. It's almost like
Yes,
public shaming of some sort when you're driving. But as far as their installation, I seem to think that they were allowed to be on existing posts of signs. So maybe it depends on where you want it. Part of what I thought for the Your Speed feedback signs, though, is that you don't want to keep them in the same place for too long, is what I thought I was told. You want to move them around and such.
We have on trailers as well, but
Okay.
there's a notorious road in our town which is very prone to speeding. Gets a lot of people out of town, so they're not used to slowing down for East Haddam. So that's why we're pretty sure we need it fixed there.
Okay.
And the residents want it fixed there.
Yeah.
Laser enforcement.
What's that?
Laser and enforcement.
I'm not sure.
Tickets.
Oh, we do tickets as well. We issued 55 tickets, 55 traffic stops in the month of May alone in our town.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that.
And about 10 of them were infractions.
Yeah, I'll double check for you. What was your name again? I said East Haddam.
I'll give you my card.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, we can get back to you on that.
Yeah.
I don't see any real issue with it, but
It means a lot to us in East Haddam.
because I mean, our signposts are already breakaway posts, so it would already be a breakaway condition. So thank you. But I'll double check and let you know.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move along. We have a quorum, so I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 12:26. Eliza, can you call the roll, please?
Sure. So Cindy and Michelle and Chester and Clinton are not expected to be here. Tony Salvatore from Carol Jones, Deep River is online. Brendan Ray Durham, I see online. Todd Gelston for East Haddam is here.
I'm here. Yeah.
Dave Cox, East Hampton. Norm Carey is not here from Essex. Sean Donlan from Haddam. I don't see Eric Couture from Killingworth. Christy Zellick from Lyme, I see online. Bob from Middlefield is not here. Gene Nocera from Middletown.
Not here. He might be online.
He's still
He
on.
is there? Okay. Martha Shoemaker from Old Lyme online. Carl Fortuna Old Saybrook.
Here.
Michael Coleman Portland.
Here.
John Hall Westbrook is also online.
Yep.
Yes. RiverCOG staff, I'm Eliza Lukowski, we have Brendan Garrity, RiverCOG and Charlie Vicki Harris, Rob Harriman, Sally Rockenhouse, Carly Carla, Joy Lasorza, Susie Beckman, that's all our RiverCOG staff. I see Lori McElwee from RBT, Ellen Graham from Bloomingdale's office, Carol Conklin, our regional election monitor, Allison Borak from Senior Resources, Julia McGrath from Courtney's office, Kristen from RRF, Ricky Milner from DOT, our friends we just heard from, sorry.
No worries.
And I see online Aaron McBride, Olivia Chikuti, I think is from Demis. Who did I miss?
Good.
Darlene. MPO, sorry.
Darling Briggs, Middle Six Chamber. All set?
All set.
Good, thank you. All right, we have a second guest speaker, Regional Waste Authority presentation. Wheeler.
We'll give Kevin a second to get the slides up, but there's your controls. Oh, got it. Hey, everybody, plug your ears. I'm going to turn it on. Very good. All right, good to be with you. My name's Kristen Wieland. I work for a consulting firm called Resource Recycling Systems, RRS. We are still actively working with RiverCOG on the Regional Waste Authority study that's deep funded. We've talked to many of you, perhaps all of you at this point, over the last year or so throughout the phase one of the project. We're here today to report out what our recommendation is based on what we've found, and to see if you'd like to continue to sort of nurture the idea of coordinated waste management across the RiverCOG region. Okay. Oh, I was waiting for you to advance it, Kevin, and I forgot that you gave me all the power. So my colleague Jessica Lally is also on the line. There are actually two consulting firms that have worked on this project for you. RRS is the lead. HDR, we brought HDR in. They're a consulting firm. They do more engineering. They're a little more engineering focused. And they also have a presence here in Connecticut. So we wanted their sort of contextual involvement and engagement in the project. So we don't have plans for Jessica to speak, but if there are any needs for her to speak up, she's also on the line. So again, I recognize that you can't see the screen very well, and I'll do the same as the folks from the transportation are going to do, and make sure that you get this slide deck after the presentation today. But my intent today is to talk about where we've been since we started this work for RiverCOG. And it really was kind of June, July-ish of last year that we started. You may recall that there were some significant things that happened in that time frame, May, June, July-ish last year, that we'll get into in a second, that would impact the movement of waste throughout the RiverCOG region. But the study's purpose was to really, in recognition of the fact that RiverCOG's waste system is becoming more expensive and more complex, to figure out how collectively you could approach that challenge to control costs to the extent that you have the ability to, while still recognizing that your residents are, there's a little feedback. Do you want me to stop, Kevin, or keep going? Okay. Recognizing that your residents are still looking for you to provide more services, so that certainly will not reduce your costs. So there were a handful of things that happened. The mirror closure, and facility closures eliminated significant disposal capacity in state. There's more waste exported out of Connecticut as a result of that. And these are all sort of pressures that are being driven at the state level, and why DEEP offered money to RiverCOG in order to really look at it and find ways to solve waste work around those challenges. There's no question that disposal and hauling costs are continuing to rise. Fuel costs are a significant driver of that, as are staffing costs to be able to actually move that waste, whether it's on rail or truck. In some cases barge, not so much here in Connecticut, but that is an influence. And then really, because of the size of your communities, many of you are struggling to achieve the scale that is really going to give you the efficiency and the cost savings that will help you in the future to provide this level of services. So our purpose of the study was to identify facility, operational, and governance solutions that maintain cost-effective waste and recycling services while expanding regional collaboration, diversion, and stewardship opportunities. So today I'll give a high-level overview of that. We're at the very end of the first phase of the project, where we have a recommendation for you. And today you'll get to decide whether or not you'd like to accept that recommendation, to move forward in the project, or if you are satisfied with what you've got now and don't want to continue on. So the study objectives were really an inventory of existing infrastructure. That was at the beginning of the work. We were in touch with many of you throughout that process, or your staff. We assessed existing interests from municipal leadership for the idea of regionalization. We considered possible services to be offered and then potential barriers to implementing a regional waste authority for all or part of the RiverCOG region. So just to confirm an RWA, because it's on the screen and it may be a new term, RWA stands for Regional Waste Authority, and RWA really is an organization formed by municipalities to jointly manage waste services. But I want to recognize that you may see down in the lower right corner of that slide that there's an elephant in the room. And so I just want to call that out before we get any further into the presentation. You may recall that around this time last year, there was significant discussion about the Essex transfer station and MIRA ownership of that. What does that mean for the future of the towns who are relying on that facility? I just want to get sort of out in front of that and say that these are two parallel projects. The regionalization of your waste system is not dependent, but it could be dependent if you want it to be, on the Essex transfer station. They're separate decisions, but I would encourage you to think about the development of a regional waste authority as a stretch goal, longer term than the decision of whether or not to rely on the Essex transfer station or the former MIRA transfer station in Essex as the place for your waste to go. So just recognize that there are two different discussions. It's active, it's very dynamic. And we moved ahead with the project despite that sort of dynamic in Essex because the long-term vision of regionalizing your waste is still relevant despite what happens to that facility. So a little bit about the project approach. So there were a series of activities that we worked through, many of them with you or your staff. Many of you were at some of our engagement events that we held. So the very first thing we did was really make sure that we got a good, solid understanding of your existing system. So we did a baseline assessment. It included municipal interviews, data collection, and analysis, both at the local level and based on state deep data that they collect. The difference between your local data and the deep data is that deeps includes commercial waste, which a lot of times the local data did not. So we really wanted to make sure that we were looking at this holistically, not just municipally generated waste, but all the waste to the extent that we could track it and evaluate it. There was extensive public engagement, and I really want to make sure that I recognize the RiverCOG staff, led by Marcos and Janice, with support from Sam and Megan. They are now waste experts, whether they want to be or not, because of their involvement in this project. They really leaned in to kind of understanding the dynamics around waste, and at the surface, waste seems pretty simple, but once you start to kind of peel back the layers of the onion, you really recognize how complicated it is, and it can be. So they are well-versed in waste and in the movement of it at this point in the project. So there was a series of surveys, workshops, which some of you were at. We appreciate your attendance. Meetings with sustainability representatives from the region, as well as one-on-one discussions, just to answer questions, get clarity, and vet the next steps before we move too far ahead. Our team made site visits earlier in March this year to make sure that we didn't visit all of the transfer stations, but a selection of them we visited to really understand the dynamics and the operations of them, see what programs are being offered, where opportunities exist based on our national experience with municipal waste systems. And then we really got to work building the scenarios and evaluating the costs and the benefits of different decisions. So your DEEP grant required the evaluation of 4 different scenarios, which are shown on the screen, but I'll say them out loud just to make sure that there's visibility into them. So the first one that they asked us to evaluate was opt-in collaboration on individual initiatives. functionally speaking, this is the same thing that you're doing right now. So it would be basically moving ahead with status quo. So many of you are working together with other towns, you're working with other vendors, and you're doing you're implementing initiatives that are meeting your own unique needs. When the opportunity is presented to work together with another town, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't, and that's totally fine. But that really is the opt-in collaboration that we evaluated. The next step up is semi-regionalization, and based on some of our research, some of what you all told us, as well as guidance from Janice and Marcos, we created sort of these sub-regions, which were groupings of 2 to 3 towns that many of you are already working together with, that made it for a natural extension for you to more formally work together in semi-regionalized formal way. The third one really is a twofer. The idea of a regional waste authority. Deep wanted us to evaluate whether it would make sense for RiverCOG, either all or some towns, to join an existing regional waste authority. We looked at 2, one to the north and one to the east, very different regional waste authorities that have very different layers of governance, different investment in assets, different operational structures, and frankly just different maturity levels based on how long they've been around, to determine if an existing regional waste authority would make sense for some or all of you to join. And then finally, creating a new regional waste authority from the ground up that meets your unique needs was the 4th scenario that we built, that we evaluated. And then finally, we made a recommendation, which we're presenting here to you today. There's also a report that was issued. I just want to confirm, have any of you received that report from Janice in the last week or 2 weeks maybe? Okay. So there's a lot more detail in the report. Of course, this is just high level opportunity for discussion. So we did make a recommendation based on the findings of all of that work. So what we heard over that period of time is really foundational here. So many of you, your residents, your staff, expressed that you want collaboration. You're not opposed to collaboration, but you only want to do it if it creates value and preserves local control. That was very loud and clear. You want to be able to do it. You still want to be able to have autonomy over your systems that you are running. And you want to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, that it's creating value, not just financial value, but improved services, more efficient movement of waste across your region. So generally speaking, some of the supports were the economies of scale, cost stability, shared expertise, and increased bargaining power. Those are some of the observations that we heard either in writing, in surveys, or in workshops. Some of the concerns were a loss of local control, how the costs would actually be allocated across the region for that collaborative working relationship, the governance, what are the moving parts that you need to make sure meet your needs and your town's needs. And then once you get to implementation, what are the risks that you could anticipate? Those are all very valid and need to be worked through in order to move ahead. But it's good to get those concerns and supports out on the table. So we have a general idea of what those are at this point. So as we work through some of the exercises with you all in the workshops and in conversations, sorry, I'm not advancing the slides. Here we go. I'm advancing on mine, not yours, apologies. So what we recognized is that the greatest near-term value comes from shared services, not necessarily, at least in the near term, the shared ownership of assets. So there are four sort of pillars that became very clear to us as we worked with many of you through the engagements. One of the pain points that many of you are experiencing are administration and compliance. There are a lot of obligations that are placed on you in order to meet legal requirements, levels of service, reporting, that take up a lot of time. You can't deny that. And you only have so much time and you only have so much staff. So reporting, compliance, advocacy, research, and education could be solved through shared coordinators or shared staff that are trained on those facets of the waste management system, and the result would be less administrative burden. You're distributing that burden across multiple towns. The next one is hauling and disposal contracting. I think that one's fairly clear. Waste and recycling, hauling, or processing. The joint procurement, similar to what you've done in the past through the MIRA contract, could be a way to get better pricing, more efficiency, while still maintaining a level of service that your residents are asking for. The third pillar is material-specific pilots and programs. So as we talked to your staff at transfer stations, many of them had tried programs, but were not able to have the right equipment in order to continue the program. Many of them didn't get enough weight or volume of a material to really get the attention of market vendors that would buy it or frankly take it for free. And then there are other specialty materials that are commonly accepted because of extended producer responsibility here in Connecticut, requiring the collection of some things like paint and propane tanks and things like that. So we identified that plastic film, cardboard, foam like styrofoam type of material, and other specialty materials are common pain points, but common interests for many of your staff, as well as the residents wanting those services. So if there were shared equipment or a hub and spoke system is what we would call in the waste industry, where many of you can collect it, but you're aggregating it at hubs so that you can get that economy of scale, that could be a way to overcome that and allow you to still manage that program locally. And then finally, organic collection, processing, and sorting. Food scraps is a program that many of your towns are starting to kind of figure out how to offer collection for. It's a significant component of the waste stream. 30 to 40% of what we throw away is actually food. Much of it could have still been eaten had there been programs or services that would have sort of been accessible and convenient to get that food to people who need it. Some of it is also just over purchasing. It's food scraps from food preparation, but sort of the bottom line is that it doesn't need to go to disposal. There are a lot of other opportunities to get into a different waste stream that could actually benefit your local economy and agriculture, which is such a strong thread through your communities. So if we can kind of combine those tons of organic material, you would lower your processing costs and still be able to provide that service. So real quickly, this is a terrible one for this screen, so there's a lot going on, but it sort of is these bullet points showing where, through our evaluation, where the most opportunity to meet cost savings, flexibility, scale, diversion, and local control lie. Some of you we talked about and used an analogy of these cars, so that's what those represent if you can see those on the screen. The individual initiatives really are individual passenger cars. You're all selecting your own car. It can be a hybrid. It can be fully electric. It can be pink, purple, blue, green, yellow. It can have all the bells and whistles, but you are totally in control of that. That's what those individual initiatives represent. The semi-regionalized is really kind of like passenger vans. So a bunch of you are getting on the van and you're kind of pointing yourselves in a direction. You can still get out of the van. You're not held hostage in that van, but you can get out. But generally, you're going in a direction with a bunch of your peers. And then the idea of a regional waste authority is whatever the vehicle is you want to get in, it gets on a flatbed trailer, and you all sort of collectively go in a direction. You still have your car, whatever that car is, but you're joining forces and you are agreeing to move in a direction with the freedom to get off of that flatbed trailer if the need arises, either permanently or temporarily. So based on that orange banner that you see on the right and all the dots that you see for all of those options, the development of a regional waste authority for RiverCOG built from the ground up is going to, based on what we heard, going to be the best direction for you to go in order to realize the cost savings that you want and build the governance that you have expressed that you want to have and build those working relationships with each other. So just wanted to ground us in where we're at in the project. So our recommended strategy is the phased implementation of a new regional waste authority. Phase 1 is where we've been. We've determined that a scalable regional platform could lower costs, strengthen resilience, improve diversion, and preserve local decision making. And we've generally identified that there is interest in collaboration. Phase 2 has not yet begun. but it's sort of in front of you as an option. So phase 2, the funding has already been committed by DEEP. There would be no commitment needed from you, either financially or any commitment to actually join an RWA at this point. It's not time. You don't know what you're committing to. So it would be unfair to ask you to join in RWA until that governance structure is actually established. So phase 2 is sort of in your hands at this point. If you are interested enough in the idea of collaboration and the development of an actual organization that you would then collectively move into functionality over time, then you would want to advance to phase 2. Again, no out-of-pocket cost to the towns. We would be asking for some of your time though, because we want to build and RiverCOG wants to build this organization, this regional waste authority, to meet your needs. So we would need you to come to the table and tell us what your specific needs are. Phase 2 includes the development and early administration that would be led by RiverCOG. They're the ones that hold the DEEP grant to administer that first sort of lift, at least initially. RiverCOG does not have to long-term be in an administrative position of the Regional Waste Authority. You could get to a point where you want to hire an executive director and have it be a fully autonomous organization, separate from or somehow aligned with RiverCOG. Up to you, but that's a future decision. The phase 2 would include outside legal counsel and technical experts to assist with the governance development, the financial structuring, regulatory considerations, and operational planning. And phase 2 is dependent on an affirmative vote from the COG members to advance it. So really that is what's before you today. The next step that we would recommend, if you choose to go to phase 2, is meeting all of you again together to really talk about what you want this to look like going forward. So sort of workshop it before we get too far down the road. And then finally, there is another phase of this work, and that would be implementation. But I want to be clear that there's no timeline determined for that. It could be implemented whenever you're ready, or it could remain an authority that has no members. In order to advance to phase 2, we need a sort of a signal that you are interested in exploring that, but not a commitment that you want to actually join the RWA. So just to be clear, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a yellow arrow up there just to show you that we're a long ways from being done with this work. We know what we know, but there's still a lot left to be uncovered. So just closing observations, what we found, and I'm from Michigan, so I don't have a lot of Connecticut background, but I know solid waste really, really well. So we observed that the region already has the ingredients for success and a history of collaboration. You've got the foundation of having a really strong regional waste authority if you want to go in that direction. Really, regionalization of the larger waste system is the next logical step. And then the recommended RWA is not intended to replace existing local programs or successful partnerships. It should build upon them. So again, coming back to that elephant in the room, don't use the RWA decision as any reason to not continue those conversations about the role of the Essex transfer station. That's an immediate need that you need to solve. You shouldn't wait for the RWA to solve, but long term, an RWA could be a really valuable tool for you to think about that regionalized collaborative procurement going forward. And I would just bring you back to these pictures. They're all three of them are from your household hazardous waste program. So really the foundation of that program, the Regional Waste Authority would be just building upon that. So think about the value that you get from Janice and the group at RiverCOG to actually create these opportunities for your residents to safely dispose of household hazardous waste and chemicals from inside their homes. The idea of a Regional Waste Authority is simply an expansion of that HHW program that you're all already a part of. So think back to why you're a part of that and the value that it brings, and use that as your launching points.
All right, at that point, I'm gonna jump in. I need clarity on this. That's not the motion that I have.
No, I think Kristen covered it. Sam had.
No. The motion I have is to authorize to proceed with DEEP Grant Task 3 and
That is grant language.
Okay.
So
Okay,
that's
so
based on.
this is grant language, and this would cover what you are proposing.
It would cover the phase 2 that I just spoke about.
Okay,
Apologies
so
for
I
that.
want to make it clear, and I should have started out with, Sam apologizes for not being here today. Unfortunately, his uncle passed away, who he was very close with down in Washington, and went down as part of services for his uncle. So I just want to mention that, and I told Sam that we will proceed, and anything that we can't proceed with, that we will put off until either July or fall special meeting. So at any rate, he stressed to me, this is very important, there's no cost at this time to any municipality. It doesn't bind any municipality, it just allows us to proceed with this study so that we are in a better position at the time that we do need to either commit one way or the other. Did I cover it correctly?
Yep.
Okay, so, with that said, I need a motion to authorize COG to proceed with deep grant task 3. And that would cover what was presented to you in the presentation. Carl, second, Eric. Okay, discussion? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Todd Gelston, East Haddam, first selectman. I think this is all good stuff. It's probably about 30 years late, but better late than never. But I'm a little confused. Phase 2, you're asking us to vote to proceed with phase 2, but there's no money involved. Never encountered that in government before.
We got a grant for deep.
Got a grant, okay.
With deep.
And the grant is how much?
I only know what our portion of it would be. I think I heard Sam say $250,000, right, for the actual.
Yeah, we have 250,000.
And that's development of all the legal documentation, governing documents, formation, all of the things that you would need to be able to turn that switch.
Okay, 250,000, that's to get to a product, a stage? Is that going to accomplish something?
It would get you to the point where you would be able to decide whether or not your individual towns want to join that entity.
It's to generate the structure of the entity and what all ordinances we would have to implement to participate. So, for example, if you have an ordinance in our town joining our park and rec with Haddam's Park and rec. So, to create that sort of regional structure.
As we proceed, we could be in a position to establish a regional waste authority.
Okay, to basically create a dummy or
A shell, yeah. Sam
shell.
is calling it a shell, and
Yeah.
it's only going to be activated if you all. A regional waste authority could be as few as 2 towns. It does not have to be all of you. So you wouldn't get presented that opportunity to join until you know what you're joining, and at that point you can say yes or no. And depending on the way that the governance, the joining terms are, you could allow additional members later on. Your regional waste authority to the north that Cromwell is actually part of is sort of always welcoming more members. SCARA over to the east is limited. Their documentation says these are all the members that we want, and we don't have the ability to add more at this point, which is one of the limitations that one of many that we didn't suggest that you actually join SCARA, because at this point you can't. They would have to change their documents.
Okay, so at the end of this period, the $250,000 or whatever amount has been spent, and we elected to join, we're not going to owe the $250,000? That's found money from the state.
Yes.
Okay, I'm very suspicious of the state, by the way. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, all right, I spoke a little off. So we have 627,000 total.
We spent a lot.
And the remainder may be used for this phase, and we have enough to cover for that. We have enough to cover.
So the money's already there, we already
Money's
used some of
already
it.
there in a deep grant.
We already used some of it.
They are, well, they've been doing some of the work for us already.
Thank you for that clarity.
Anyone else? If not, I have a motion, a second, and all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, moving along. Carol, anything on elections?
Yes. I'm not sure. Can you hear me? I don't know if I hit the microphone.
Can I hear?
Yeah, those at home may not hear you.
At least you gotta go stand next to the owl. At least, yeah, close to the camera.
Just don't run the microphone in front of the speakers. You're sleeping away, though.
Yeah, you can stand in front of the screen, people can't see. Yeah, that's fine.
So briefly, your registrars are in a transition time period. They're wrapping up referendums, and there's an August 11th primary, statewide primary. They will get instructions from the state on managing that primary. A common question I get from the towns is, if it's a Democratic primary, can the Republican registrar help with that, help with the early voting? Yes. They are neutral bodies working in a process. So they can help each other. It does help if they have a good relationship to help each other. It does reduce costs for their early voting and for their whole process. And yesterday was a county meeting for the registrars, and their organization has a new president who gave a legislative update. And a lot of the new election laws from this session, when they finished, they were effective upon passage. Sometimes they have a 3-month delay, a 6-month delay. Most are effective upon passage. If you see your registrars ordering new signage that they're going to need and various things from those election laws, it's legitimate, and it's because they need it now. The state did a call with them last week to talk about this, and they're scrambling quickly to update all their procedure manuals based on new changes that came out of the session. We will be offering them various summer classes before the primary for new moderators and to train on the equipment and some of the changes with equipment, and keep our fingers crossed for the November election for it to all go smoothly. So let me know anytime. Questions?
Any questions? Yes, sir.
I have a question, probably else from each item. All these new election laws, including early voting, modifications of early voting, requires a lot of extra time on the part of the towns and their registrars. Is the state going to help us pay for that?
The state is issuing another statewide grant, and I think your registrars recently had to turn in paperwork for that grant. Every town gets a minimum of $5,000, and then it's going to go up from there based on your ratio of population and voters.
Thank you.
So there is more funding coming to help with some of this.
Okay. Anyone else?
And there's only one other thing too, as far as one of the new passages involves signage around the polling place, and the state is really encouraging that if you have a local police department or a resident state trooper, they're very involved in knowing what's going to transpire that day and the regulations for that day, who can be where and when. So it's just good to keep them in the loop and get them in the know with your registrars.
Okay, anyone else with a question? All right, seeing none, thank you very much, Carol.
Thank you.
Nicole, Denver's outbreak?
We have Olivia online.
Okay. We still have her.
Olivia? Oh, she's trying to unmute.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I am filling in for Nicole Velarde, and just a couple quick updates. So the first is Nicole Lake has been sworn in as our Deputy Desk Commissioner. Governor Lamont, the Connecticut Department of Public Health urged residents to stay informed, not alarmed, amid the disease outbreaks and increased international travel locally for global soccer tournament. Earlier this month, Governor Lamont activated the state's extreme heat protocol. And hopefully, going into the summer months, depending on the weather, I'm sure we'll be seeing that more. Governor Lamont declares the stage 2 drought advisory for Fairfield, Middlesex, and New Haven counties. The fiscal year 2024-2025 Flood Mitigation Assistance, or the FMA grant program, is accepting applications in the FEMA Go until July 7th, 2026. Please visit the Demis FMA webpage for more information. The fiscal year 2024-2025 Building Resilience Infrastructure and Communities, also known as the BRIC grant program, is accepting applications in the FEMA Go until July 1st, 2026. Please visit the Demis BRIC webpage for any information. The fiscal year 2025 Emergency Management Grant Program, or the EMPG application, is still open and is available. It is due by next Tuesday, June 30th, 2026. We are still conducting outreach to those towns that have not yet completed an application. So please reach out to your EMD and just make sure that that's all set. The Demis Region 2 office staff are conducting municipal visits with each cities and towns within the Region 2, and they will be visiting the EMD director. Demis will be supporting the FEMA Evaluated Millstone Plume exercise, which took place yesterday, June 23rd. It went really well, very good coordination at the state EOC, and we'll be awaiting FEMA's response and evaluation results. The next Region 2 REPT Steering Committee meeting will be this Friday, June 26, 2026, online, and that will take place at 9:30. And please remember that with the hurricane season here, municipalities need to have their debris management sites approved by Demis. Approved by DEEP. And if you have any questions, please contact DEEP. If you do need the contact information, you can reach out to us and we will be happy to provide that. With all that said, that is the end of my report, pending any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you very much. Congressional updates. Senator Blumenthal's office.
Okay, so Ellen Graham, Senator Blumenthal's office. Just to follow up on what Olivia said, the FEMA has opened for BRIC grants. I just want to remind everyone that our offices are happy to provide letters of support for any grants you're applying to in the federal government. So please reach out to Julia, Aaron, and I, and we can help coordinate that together. We are monitoring hydrilla funding, and the senator is very actively involved in that. We will continue to try to get as much funding as we can. And I do want to note that the August recess is coming up. It's not a recess for us here in Connecticut, but if you have any events or anything going on in your town or city in August, please let us know. We're happy to get the senator out there. So that's it.
Thank you. Senator Murphy's office.
I think Erin had to drop off. She had 1 o'clock. Is she still on? Okay. So I will slide in. So good afternoon, Julie McGrath, Congressman Courtney's office. I sent a rather long report to Vicki with a few need-to-knows and a lot of nice.
Take a walk up by the owl so they can hear you.
They won't hear you if they're not here.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. So I have a long report, but there's really one thing that I want to highlight today that I would like to stress the importance of, and that the Office of Management and Budget has put out a proposed rule on the Federal Register and regulations.gov to do the largest revision of uniform guidance, which is essentially the federal rule framework for accessing federal grants, loans, contracts, procurements, anything. this would be the biggest revision since its inception in 2013, and it would impact any federal grant program. And we are encouraging people to take this very seriously. The comment period is open. Highly encourage anyone who has anything to say, submit a comment before July 13th at 11:59 p.m. It doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't even have to be grammatically correct. It just has to be in. I am happy to talk with people one-on-one about any questions they have. It's a longer document. It's 128 pages. I have summarized it very briefly, both on our website and in the report that I sent out. I also sent out an email some amount of time in the past to most people who are here. But I would encourage you to take it very seriously, to take a look at it, and to participate. There are some elements of it that I think would be just inarguably detrimental to a lot of the stuff that we do here, so I want to make sure that we engage as much as we can. And that's really all I want to highlight today, but happy to, talk that further as people have questions.
Thank you. Any questions for our congressional ops? Yes, sir.
You teased me. What's so bad? Give us an example.
Affiliation reviews of outside members and organizations not professionally related. Changing the way that people, so normally when we get a grant application, it goes through a process with the agency that is funding the process. This would attempt to shift and centralize all grant-making authority to the Office of Management and Budget, creating kind of a single point of contact, which is a potentially, especially for grants that require real subject matter expertise, like research or whatever, in order to adequately pick an application and move it forward. That is of concern because those are not people who are, say you have a chemistry National Science Foundation application, OMB is not full of chemists. So that's another huge concern. There would be a huge shift in the ability to terminate grants without cause and very limited opportunities for appeal. And that's just a few things. But it would essentially, briefly, centralize a lot of power and create a situation in which there will be specific stipulations that you will be, as a federal grantee, expected to meet. So will your sub-grantees, so any money coming through the state that then gets trickled out, the state will be required to audit and monitor sub-grantees to ensure that they are following the same, tenets that they've agreed to. It's an administrative concern also, just because, we have a lot of little towns that don't have the time or space, or really it shouldn't be a priority to be, spending their time on all of this paperwork. But I'm happy to kind of really dive into it with you if you would like.
Yes, we like. I'll give you a call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else have a question?
I will say CCM put out, I don't know if it was guidance or a statement yesterday, also stating, was it opposition or information? It was information, but it was,
yeah,
leaning towards, this may not be best for the communities.
That's a piece that came out of the lower
I don't know if it was Laura's office, but it's it came from CCM, put it on.
Yeah, I did see that, and I agree with the way they framed that. I think that's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Rob, we're gonna do MPO First thing is, I need to get a motion and a second on the minutes of the May 27th.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any corrections? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Vicky, you're still here. Conduct update.
Yeah, I have one quick update if you're going to read today. So the only item I have to discuss today is one upcoming virtual public meeting, and that is on project 171-523, traffic control signal replacements in Central Connecticut. This project actually only tackling the city of Middletown for 2 intersections. They're both on Route 3. The first intersection is Route 3 at Stony Crest Drive and Drive to Bacon Village. The second intersection is Route 3, which is Newfield Street at La Rosa Lane. So both intersections will have a full replacement with traffic signals. That's the plan from DOT. And the virtual meeting for that will be on July 15th at 6 o'clock. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Ricky, one question.
Yeah.
You sent out that email this morning about the speed limit replacements.
Yeah.
When you have a better idea of when each one is coming to the towns, would it be possible to let us know, because that's something that a lot of residents will have questions about. If we just say they're going to be replacing speed limit signs in the month of July, people will go, when am I going to see them on my street?
Absolutely, yeah. I'd be happy to provide the COG more information about that. I reached out to the park manager this morning. I had a similar question from a different COG, so I'll see if there's a schedule available so I can just distribute to each town.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Yeah, one quick question.
Yes, sir.
On that speed limit, or comment on that speed limit construction thing. So it started July. It's like a whole year, so I should be able to get some more information about on the timeline of that. Yeah.
When you say speed limit speed limit sign replacement, what does that really mean?
So essentially, the only thing that we're doing is replacing the signage, whereas like make sure the reflectivity is there. It's just changing the speed limit number or anything like that. It's more just the actual signage itself. So that way, it's more like replacing kind, essentially.
Easy to read. So you're not changing the speed limits.
Oh no. Just only the signage to like make sure that that's reflective and up to like minor standards essentially.
Do you know what each time you're going to do this?
I don't have a specific date just yet, but I'll reach out to the project manager to be able to hopefully get a project schedule for everyone doing that.
Because I have a certain road I'm concerned about.
Okay.
So how should I make contact with you? Oh, you send us an email.
Yeah, I can do
I'll
that.
respond to your email.
All right, we'll do. All right, thanks.
State highways only, correct?
Yeah, state roads only, yes.
Yeah, state
No local roads.
Oh wait.
This is local.
Oh wait. Sorry, I misspoke. So this construction I sent this morning for only local roads only, not state roads. So it's local roads only.
These are all local roads. Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wait a minute, those are town roads.
Yeah, local roads, state roads, not state.
Mostly local.
Yeah,
Okay,
these are on town roads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really? I didn't get any
These are town roads.
information on that.
Ricky, there's a map on the state's website. Can you find that link and send it out? Because it'll show you where they're doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. I also do like, yeah, this wasn't for all the towns in the COG, these are all throughout the
I don't
district
remember
too.
any in Cromwell, but there certainly are in Hannah.
Yeah, yeah, it was for all the towns in the COG, it's just some towns. So there's some in, there's some district too, but not all the towns in the COG essentially. I know East Haddam was one of them.
Yeah.
Cromwell, I don't think was not on that, but I'll check the email. But it wasn't all the towns though.
Cromwell's District 1.
Yeah,
Cromwell,
District 1.
Middletown,
Yeah.
Durham, and Middlefield are
Yeah.
District 1, so they wouldn't
Yeah, they
be
were
there.
involved in that now.
Yeah. Yeah, this is district.
District 2 gets better service, huh? Just checking. Hey, Ricky, thank you. Any further questions for Ricky? Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Okay, hey, Rob, let's try this without objection. We're going to do C1, 2, and 3 the way I read it.
Sure, all set?
If you think they're close enough.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all. Okay, the first 3 line items is from 25 Tip Amendment number 18 to statewide project, various locations. Project number 170S, SNON, SCPA funding, exempt from air quality modeling. This is C, sign support inspections on non-NHS roads. On a lot of tip amendments you'll see there's CE, or which is consultant engineer, and SF, which is state forces. So this is consultant work. It is other 2027 $500,000. The second line item, same project description, 2028 $5,000 and or $500,000. And the third line item is FYI, which is beyond the scope of the current tip for $1 million. All three of these line items are being deleted from the tip. As you can see, it has a slightly odd project number and it's being replaced, or so it's just a placeholder right now, and it's being replaced by project number 1703803 with no changes to the cost estimates.
What do you need, motion to delete?
Yes.
Motion to delete, please.
No move.
Second, second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Without objection, unless I'm wrong, Rob, C4 and 5?
Let's see, I have 4.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just 4.
Yep. All right, number 4 is statewide, section 5311. That's FTA rural formula funding. This is project number 170, 2026 TR, exempt from modeling. This adjusts the program to the actual appropriations for the admin RTAP, which is the Rail Transportation Assistance Program, in let's see here, it's categories other, 2026, 1.695 million. Basically, you might have seen this before. This is pretty much an annual TIP amendment. The current line item in the TIP is generally an estimate, and then when FTA releases the actual appropriations, the difference is included, which is this number right here. So basically now just the TIP matches the current appropriations.
And you need a motion
yes.
to
include this entry?
So this would be a motion to add it?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Also move. I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Can I ask a question? Do you know which, so it's multiple municipalities that have to come up with that 1%?
Yeah, actually, I forget how that one works.
It appears to be 9811.
Yeah, that is, yeah, I can look. It's probably, I remember this question had come up in the past. I don't believe it is municipal, because I mean, it's mostly federal money. I think the state
Rare
might
if
cover
there's
it, but
anything in the municipal column.
yeah, it is. It's a statewide, I'd have to look into it, but I know it's come up in the past, and I have the answer somewhere in my office. But
You get a chance, Robert, you can get it.
yeah.
Thank you. Okay, again, let's try without objection, C4, excuse me, C5, 6, and 7.
All right.
Am I okay with those, Rob?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
They're all the same project number. This is District 1, various locations. The locations were sent out with your packet. I think there were a lot of work in Weathersfield. There was one bridge, I think, in the region, which was Route 3 over Route 9 in Cromwell. I think that was the only one. It's Federal Bridge, or Project 171, 519, Federal Bridge Program, exempt. Mill and pave, various bridges. It's an AC conversion in 2026 for $5 million. This is a decrease from the existing $7.5 million federal in the existing project. Because of that decrease, the next two line items are deleted. Number 6 is an AC entry for 0, and number 7 is an AC conversion for 3.125 million. So those two will be deleted as they're not necessary because of the decrease in number 5. Typically, DOT prices don't come down, but the bid came in quite low, so this is just to match the existing bid.
And this is a motion to?
Yes. Let's see here. Decrease line item 5 and delete 6 and 7.
That's the motion. It's made by Eric, second by Todd. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Without objection, and if I'm wrong, the remainder, 8 through 13.
Yes, these are all Estuary Transit District projects. Number 8 is ETD, Middletown Saybrook, project 478, 2026 CN. This is 5307 C funding. 5307 is urban area formula funding instead of rural. It's exempt. Facility improvements, 2026 for $500,000, and this is a deletion. I had talked to Joe about this one and the next one, and the district does have current reserves from previous years to cover this, and will reapply once those reserves are gone. Number 9 is similar. This is again ETD, project 478, 2026 EQ. 5307, again, exempt. Capital and miscellaneous support. This is 2026 for 20,000. Again, a decrease from the 560,000 that was currently in the tip. And again, ETD is okay with it, as they do have the money right now to cover anything they have, and will, like I said, reapply next year. Number 10, ETD again, project 478, 2026, 5707C. This is for the replacement of 2 2019 small buses. Acquisition money, 2026 for $320,000. Number 11, again, ETD, project number 478, 2026 RS. This is to replace 4 2015 30-foot buses. Acquisition money in 2026 for $3,920,000. Number 12, again, ETD. This is 5311 funding, which is the Rural Funding Formula Program. This is for ETD capital. Other 2026, $655,000. This is a new entry. And the final, number 13, 478, 2026 RL. Again, 5311 funding. This is for operating, 2026, $1,315,000. That's another new line.
I'll take a motion to approve such actions as required.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, second, Mike. Further discussion?
Yes, questions?
Sure.
The buses, the 2 replacements and the 4 replacements, how are they powered?
I don't know.
So I believe the 2 shuttle buses, those are by gasoline, like all of ours are.
Gasoline, not diesel?
For the smaller buses, they're gasoline. Yep, they're gasoline. The other buses, I believe, they're definitely not electric. I believe they're either hybrid or they're diesel. They might be hybrid. But definitely not electric. So that's not airport any more of those.
So it's like $1 million per bus.
Correct. Yep, 900,000.
980, I believe.
Yeah, 980.
And
Okay.
where are these buses going to be used?
All over our region. All over our region. Yep.
Good. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, now that we're in sticker shock, anyone else?
Yes.
$300,000.
Yeah, $250,000 for a dump truck.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Rob. Unless you have other transportation.
No, I really don't. I think we're all set for now.
Thank you, Rob. Brendan.
All right.
Okay,
Sounds good. Standing the owl here. So I mentioned this last time, but just again, I appreciate all the support with the extra mile pilots. Those got funding for 1 more year, which is great. And so now our goal becomes trying to find funding long term for future years. So we're gonna have to keep fighting for funding every single year. So we'll hopefully keep these around. So again, thank you everybody for letters of support and getting testimony. So we do appreciate that. We also had some folks from the DOT, which is great. With District 2, we're currently working with them for bus stop permitting for a bus stop project. We've had some discussions there. It seems like we have a good compromise, and so we sent them some more information. So we think that we'll hear back from them soon on decisions with that. So that'll be good to keep that moving. And then we also have the Clinton trolley that's back and running in the summer. So folks are down in the Madison, Clinton area want to get on the trolley. Definitely give it a go. The route changed a little bit, so now it goes to Big Y and Clinton Outlet Mall instead of the Stop and Shop that's closing. So if you want to check that out, definitely give that a go if you're in the area. And then finally, I was working with Rob on some MTP updates, so some Metropolitan Transportation Plan updates. So working with those, giving sort of our wish list for the future, as well as bus replacement schedules that you just heard about today, and other things that we have planned going forward in future years. So that's pretty much what I got.
Any questions for Brent? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, moving on, COG business, approval of COG's budget. Sally?
So, first time addressing you all in Sam's absence. So, the budget draft you've received in your documents. And there was a previous draft and now the updated draft. The changes in the updated draft should be highlighted in your document, but we added the RSG fiscal year 26 carryover of $100,000 approved by OPM for consultant work through the end of the calendar year. We added a few rows. One is the municipal economic development support contract. These are in income. The zoning compliance update for PA 25-1 is $27,000, and then $35,000 for the regional waste study, in addition of food waste and storm debris plan. So those, and the CPERG was revised for activity and an extended date. So those are the changes on the income side. On the operations, project and operation expenses, the RSG grant was reconciled for the economic development Main Street dues, and for RSG carryover was added in a row. A row was added for that. The Middletown CCLT row is removed because that's a staff time only situation. Let's see, the zoning compliance update was added, a row was added for the IMED costs to the expenses, and other project costs were updated for items that got shifted to the RSG additional funding and economic development. So, and then repairs and maintenance were revised because we got reimbursed from the landlord for the termite damage. Yeah, that was fun. Well, not termite damage, termite extermination. Yeah, that's what we like about termites. So, are there any questions regarding that? This is what the document looks like that you should have received. That's our draft.
Any questions?
If not, I'm looking for a motion.
Can I get a motion on the budget, please?
So moved, Jelston.
I'll second.
Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
That was easy. Checked off the box.
Sally, who's doing the,
I'm doing the financial briefing.
yeah, but how about the executive director to enter an agreement with OPM?
The executive director. Oh. Did,
You know anything about it?
what are we looking at? Under what?
Authorization for the executive director to enter into agreement with OPM.
the fiscal year?
Oh, yeah, so this is our annual RSG grant. This is like half of our operating grant that we get every year from OPM. This is just, we do this every year to authorize, Sam to sign for it, so we can get paid. So
These are regular regional services. Okay. I guess we have a recommendation to enter in, and can I get a motion?
Also moved.
Dave, Todd. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Sally, regional services grant.
That's what we just did.
Sally, you got a couple more, so.
Regional stone debris and food waste.
Is that what it is? Storm debris and food waste. Is that what it is?
One of them is storm debris, the other is food waste.
How did you get that?
It's on the lovely email that we got from Vic.
Yeah.
Whoever Vicky is, I'm just.
I'm real curious.
Peggy, do you remember that?
Well, here, I'll,
Alright.
let me go find the one on storm waste.
Yeah, I think Kristen probably knows about that.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Quickly, please.
So I don't have the language in front of you, but I know about the project. So because of the funding from DEEP, there was in a lower staff expense than Sam anticipated because of Marcos's absence. There was extra DEEP money that needed to be spent. So we discussed where it would be best to spend it. So working with Margot. We're working with Margot to develop an estimation of storm debris in a variety of different scenarios. So I think that's part of what you're looking at. And then another component, again, deep funded through that bucket of money that RiverCOG already has, would be development of a food waste awareness campaign. So that as your towns begin to add more infrastructure and programming to recognize food waste as a component of the waste that doesn't need to be disposed of, and there are other opportunities, they would understand why that's a necessary action for residents to take. So it would be a campaign that any of your towns could utilize to raise awareness of food waste as a waste stream that you're trying to influence.
And also, I just wanted to add that I believe this is coming from some of the extra money that we got from RSG this year as a result of PA 25-1. So, though we're talking about using with RRS and the NHMP, which is your natural hazard mitigation plans, I believe that could fit into it in the future. It is going to be with fiscal year 26 money from RSG, and if we don't spend that money, then we have to give it back to the state, and we really don't want to do that.
Okay, so it is correct. It's the storm debris, it's the food waste, and it's $14,000. Question?
Yeah, I'm a little confused, since you answered the questions. Storm debris estimation.
Yeah.
Why do we need to do that?
So should there be a hurricane of probably category 3 is what we're looking at as the intensity that would most likely hit Connecticut. Straight line winds, ice storms. There are calculators that we have from FEMA and a model that we've created based on the amount of wind, the temperature, and the amount of precipitation that will actually help you estimate the amount of, in this case, we're just looking at vegetative debris, and it's based on road miles. So because the priority is to clear roads so they're passable, this isn't really focused on parklands that don't need to be cleared or private property. It's helping you figure out what you need to be prepared to have staging areas for, have equipment to manage, contracts in place in order to meet the primary needs, which would be passage through those roads. And there are calculators, we built a calculator that will help you estimate that. So you know how much you need to stage or how many staging areas you need should any of those events happen.
So how would you help each town?
We'll look at your road miles, which we're currently working with.
120.
Okay, and we're looking at Centerline Road, so there are some GIS components to this. We will have it at the individual town level, so that you'll know the vegetative debris depending on tree canopy cover in your town and road miles. Those are the two basic inputs.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
I don't make a motion.
I didn't have a motion.
You did not have a motion.
I did not have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
And I'll help you out with a second.
They'll give me a second. Any further discussion? I got the discussion without motions. Okay. No further questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, Sally, you're up again according to my sheet. Regional Services Grant?
Financial brief, right?
No, Regional Service Grant.
That's what we just did. That's what we just did.
Okay, then how about Regional Service Grant?
That's what we
Wait a minute, we're gonna do we need, okay, we did all that. Okay, Regional Housing Committee,
There we go.
Housing Growth Plan update. That's not you.
That's not me.
That's Eliza.
That's me.
Sally, you're all done. Thank you very much. You did a great job.
You're not done, but you're there.
Financial report.
So our Regional Housing Committee is starting work on kind of phase 2 of our housing growth plan project. We're starting the regional housing needs assessment. We've undertaken to create an existing conditions report and presentation for every one of your towns with housing, demographic, and economic data from 2014 to 2024. The first 5 of those were sent out yesterday. So yours is coming if you haven't received it. And then after that gets to your Regional Housing Committee rep, Megan or I will be meeting individually with the rep, the CEO, and your town planner, if those are 3 different people, which, Eric, I guess that's just you.
Yes.
So in that meeting, we're going to talk about what we need from towns to move forward, or what towns should be doing, what kind of committee you might want to form internally to help inform work on the housing growth plans that will start in 2027.
Questions?
Questions?
No motion needed, right?
No.
Right. Susie, on-call economic development program update.
All right, this is a 6-month update. As you know, $34,900 was approved to go into this program. It provided 12 hours of services by Community Resource Management over the course of this year to each town so that they could move an economic development program forward. We are finding that some of the towns are not engaging with Community Resource Management. So what I sent, or Vicki sent, in your packet was a little bit of an update and then a recommendation that we reallocate some of those unused hours to towns that are using them. So the process will be, if approved by you, to give towns a deadline of August 1 to opt into the program, so we know how many towns want to use their hours. And then any towns that don't opt in, their hours would be reallocated to towns that are using the services. And then we'll reassess in September, see where we are, how many hours have been used, and if more hours need to be moved around. So my request is for a motion to approve the recommended process for reallocating unused hours to towns participating in the on-call economic development program.
I need it. Mike, second. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Excellent, thank you.
Susie, Connecticut River Gateway Commission update?
Yes. We are in the process of creating a 6-month contract that will provide for the transition services we are going to provide to the Gateway Commission, with the goal of having that completed by the end of this calendar year. We have put out a job description and have had 3 applicants that we will move to that I will send to the Gateway Commission, and so hopefully we'll get into the process soon of interviewing folks. That's the update there. And I've got two more.
Yep, you got stormwater.
Yep, I got that too. I want to give you just a couple things. DECD, Grayfield, has a Grayfields program now. If you have any questions, let me know. It's for commercial areas that are underutilized. Connecticut Main Street Center will have a July 30th, 1 p.m. meeting. It's called a CEO Roundtable. I'll be sending more information about that. I am providing Margot's update for the stormwater work now. RiverCOG received $200,000 in funding for stormwater work in fiscal year 27. The funding can be used for a wide variety of projects. To develop regional program ideas, a meeting was held to discuss greatest concerns by the towns. The permit for the discharge of stormwater from small municipal separate storm sewer systems and the required mapping for all municipalities of bridges and culverts due in 2028 were also discussed. The three components of greatest concern that came out of that meeting were 1, mapping of stormwater infrastructure, 2, water quality testing and its cost, 3, illicit discharge detection, mitigation, and its cost. RiverCOG will begin developing a program around these concerns in the coming months.
Okay, any questions? Susie, NHMP update.
Final draft is almost complete, and you've already heard about the possibility of adding the debris management information to that. That's it for that.
LCRLT update.
The summer meeting will be July 16th. It's a 5:30 dinner and a 6 to 7 p.m. presentation. Brian Hess from Connecticut Deep Wildlife Action Plan will provide an update. An invitation will be going out next week, and she asks that you all please register to attend.
Any questions for Susie over those last updates? Seeing none? Thank you, Susie. Vicky, you got any announcements?
No announcements.
No announcements. Financial report. Sally, you're back.
This one I knew I was doing. I didn't have that one with the yellow highlights.
I'm sorry. I did.
I could have become the chair and did that.
Yeah. It was a secret.
That's right. I'll speak to Sam about that. So, our financial brief. As of May 31st, we completed 11 months of the fiscal year. The overall spending is within parameters of our adopted $3,137,496 budget, plus the $400,000 additional from the MPO 25. Our audit expense came in on the high side, as we already know. Yep. And we have several items that have come in under 75% so far, which is, but we're 92% of the way through the year, and they're under 75, and that's health insurance, postage, and printing. The health insurance part is because of the employee who went off and employees who came on, and it's just a cost savings. And equipment is at 73%, but we do have some expenses pending for June, and we'll bring that up. Our bank account balances in the Liberty Bank, 106,294.33. In the STIP account, 1,308,444.65, for a total of 1,414,738.98.
Any questions for Sally?
You mentioned the audit report was more expensive than anticipated.
Yeah.
Please explain.
That's because I did not, so when I came into the position, I did not overlap with the prior finance administrator. And my understanding coming in was that the prior year had been closed. And when everything went into the auditors, it became apparent that the prior year had not been closed. And so I had additional work to go back and do, and they needed to help me identify the things that have been left undone, because I haven't done Council of Governments closing yet, and there were no instructions or roadmap left. So the auditors ended up putting in some extra time into building the financial statements, and it's pretty much on me.
Okay, I appreciate that. I thought you were gonna say because the auditor came in with a higher quote. And
No,
ours
no,
found
no,
Auditors are getting real expensive.
No, it was for legitimate build additional
rework.
time, and I know they
As a
did
result
salaries
of you
in.
being new authority.
Pardon?
Yeah,
As a result of you being.
Yeah,
new to the
yeah,
system.
because I was new and,
it wasn't your responsibility though. It was just part of your job. You picked up a bad ball.
I picked up the ball that was there.
Yeah.
And I continue to do so.
I understand.
I'm
Thank you.
still in the year of firsts, I'm within my first year, so everything is coming up for the first time.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'm running out of those things, except of course for the things that happen every 2 years.
Anyone else for a question for Sally? Okay, seeing none. Kevin, computer purchases?
Yes, sir. I'm just going to read straight from the memo because Sam knows that I am susceptible to tangent drift. RiverCOG's office location at 145 Denison Road in Essex is proposing to alter the way its technology is structured for its staff. We would like to transform away from the full remote needs of the past several years to a hybrid approach that facilitates both remote and in-person work with more optimal hardware and software solutions. The Windows Remote Desktop service that RiverCOG currently uses via Spectrum Virtual has become outdated. Incompatibility with various applications, including QuickBooks Enterprise and Adobe Suite, have caused disruptions to staff productivity. I'll return to this in a motion at the end, but as such, we are requesting $15,000 for the acquisition of a server appliance that will be hosted at the main office location, in addition to $8,000 for staff devices and other peripherals, for a grand total not to exceed $23,000. The new setup will utilize a virtual private network system to allow staff to access resources via issued devices. By making those devices mobile, staff will be able to access work resources from anywhere, provided that they have their work issued device and an internet connection. This will also minimize the need for duplicate hardware for use in conference rooms. Staff will be able to use their personal work devices for hybrid meetings, eliminating the need to purchase additional hardware that sits idle when a conference room is not in use. With this new configuration, we'll also be making changes to our backup protocols, adding multi-factor authentication, or MFA, as well as changes to the Office 365 structure. We will be maintaining the same level of security via endpoint monitoring, and will continue to receive tech support from Spectrum Virtual as needed. So I'd like to make a motion that RiverCOG, and I'm not actually sure if it's part of that equipment budget or if this is all next year. Sally, do you know? Where'd Sally go? Is any money in this year, or is it all next year for technology?
This year is for a couple of laptops. We're pretty much done with this year.
Okay, so this is spanning both years then.
Yes.
So for both
primarily
budget
next year.
years, RiverCOG is requesting to spend $15,000 for the acquisition of a server appliance and $8,000 for staff devices, not to exceed a grand total of $23,000.
Yeah, that's all next year.
Okay. Thank you. Can I get a motion, please? I'll make that motion. Second?
Second.
Any questions? No questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, anybody have anything for the good of the council? Okay, thank you. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Second, Dave, Eric, whoever. Any questions, any objections? All in favor? Aye. Enjoy the rest of the day. It's a beautiful day.